Social media is keeping you broke, and most people don't even realize it. Because the real cost of social media isn't the time that you spend scrolling, it's what the scrolling does to your attention, your focus, and your ability to actually execute on the things that would move your life forward. Think about how often this happens. You sit down to do something productive, maybe it's work, maybe it's building a side hustle, maybe it's doing a project that you've been putting off for weeks now. And before you start, you grab your phone and tell yourself, let me just scroll Instagram for a second. Next thing you know, it's been 20 minutes and you are still scrolling. Maybe you watched a few motivational clips or a business video, or maybe somebody talking about discipline, and for a moment, you actually felt like you were being productive. But at the end of it, nothing actually changed. You didn't move forward, you didn't execute, and the thing that you said you were gonna do is still sitting there waiting for you. That's why people stay broke. Over the years, I've worked with lots of men who are looking to improve their lives. We usually start by going over their story, and then they tell me their goals, and then we go into what the challenges are that they're facing right now. What's the main thing that's holding them back from actually reaching this goal? Almost always, the answer to this question comes back to either a lack of motivation or a lack of discipline. Now, this isn't a video where I'm trying to motivate you or I'm trying to convince you that your goal is worth pursuing. You already know that. So, why do I even bring this up? How does this relate to social media, and what does this have to do with being broke? As we started peeling back the layers and getting to the root of the issues with these men, I started to notice this trend that the things that they were believing were all being influenced by what they were seeing on the internet. Social media was quietly reshaping everything that they thought, and it was starting to change how they were actually spending their time. And for you watching this video, my hope is that when you hear these effects of social media, you will begin to recognize these patterns showing up in your own life. And more importantly, I hope that you'll be able to take action to actually change the direction of your life. The first trap that these guys were falling into is that social media began to destroy their attention. To truly understand what I mean by that, I want to take a look at the actual algorithm and what social media is created to do. The algorithm is designed for new content. Every time that you open the app, you see something different, you see something new, and it learns what you like so it can continue feeding you the things that you like. When you see things that you like, you stay on it longer and longer. Now, if you take the main social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and even if you throw YouTube into there, you're gonna see literally billions of pieces of content are posted every single day. And if these aren't your platforms of choice, you might be into the news, and there's literally tens of thousands of news articles posted every single day, if not more. I mean, you even have ESPN coming out with their own version of social media by introducing Verts. There are so many different platforms that we can use to fill our day, and this is gonna completely destroy our attention. When you get onto one of these apps or one of these platforms and you scroll and scroll and scroll, you're getting these quick hits of dopamine. And I know we hear that word thrown around all the time, but it is a real thing. And all that really does is it causes our brain to want this fast, constant stimulation that applies outside of just social media. So if you're trying to build something to grow your income, it's gonna be harder for you to focus on these slower or difficult tasks because you're gonna be bored. You've essentially eliminated your ability to be bored. And if you're building something and you're not seeing these tangible results that you want to see a little bit quicker, this is going to make you feel like you want to quit. And that's ultimately what leads to people giving up before they even really get started. In order to be disciplined, you have to be able to sustain attention. And that doesn't mean that you're going to enjoy every single task that you do, but you have to keep the end goal in mind in order to stay moving. And if you can't stay focused long enough to develop skills or to build something, your income is never gonna grow. The next trap is probably the most common, and I would say that every single person watching this video has probably experienced this at some point in their life. That is the comparison trap. Because social media is essentially just a highlight reel of all of our victories. So when you're scrolling, you might see somebody who's on a really nice vacation with their family, or somebody who just bought a brand new car. Or it might be people that are having different success in business than what you're having. I saw this all the time for myself when I was running the gym, because I would see other gyms that their classes looked like they were completely full, like they were overflowing. And then my own classes at my gym would have like 10, 15 open spots in the class. And the problem with that is that it always led me to feeling completely discouraged and completely defeated. I always felt like I was getting behind and like I needed to move quicker in order to catch up to these people. So let's break down that process a little bit more of what actually happens. You see somebody on social media living this life that you want to live, and that puts this unnecessary pressure on you, which then leads to you overthinking things or feeling defeated, which ultimately results in you not being able to work or leads to paralysis. If you don't actually do the work, then you're not going to be able to make any progress. But if you don't make any progress, if you don't do any work, then that's not going to lead to any income growth. There's a super simple quote that helped me completely shift my mindset on this, which is that time will pass no matter what. And what I've realized with this is that if I start today, 3 months from now, the time is going to fly by, and I'm going to say, man, I'm so glad that I started 3 months ago. I'm going to see all this progress I made. It's going to be easier every single day. I'm going to be way more comfortable doing it. I'm going to be happy with where I am and where I've gone. But it's also true for the opposite. Time will pass no matter what, even if you don't start today. If I start 3 months from now, I'm going to do the work and I'm going to look back and say, man, I wish I would have started 3 months ago. And if you're not careful, you're likely going to fall into this mindset pitfall that basically says, if you're only focusing on where you want to go, you'll never be able to enjoy where you currently are. The third trap that these guys fell into is that social media created this information overload. There were all of these videos that gave business advice or productivity hacks or money strategies, and everybody seemed to have a conflicting opinion. I mean, even this video can fall into that category. You might watch this and you agree with everything that I'm saying, or you're watching it saying the complete opposite and you're just here so that you can argue with me down in the comments. Either way, there were all of these videos that these men were consuming, and it led to them feeling like they were learning. Now, social media can be good for learning, but learning only happens when the new information that you're getting is actually applied. One of my favorite things to say is it's either a blessing or a lesson. If you do something new and it works out, then you've been blessed through that. If you do something and you technically failed, you didn't actually fail. You learned something new. And so now when you're able to go forward and try it again, you're able to actually learn from that and not make the same mistake twice. But if you aren't careful, learning can become an easy excuse for you to not actually take any action. You're going to learn more by doing something, learning from it, and doing it again than you would if you continued learning on the internet and never actually trying. And when you're able to execute consistently, execution creates opportunity, and opportunity leads to more income. All of this information is good, but what can you actually do to apply this? Social media isn't evil. I too scroll social media way too much most days. But the issue is that you're not able to control the amount of consumption that you get on a regular basis. If you want to be disciplined, you have to control your inputs. Next time that you have some work to do, I want you to lock your phone in another room for an hour. If you're able to give yourself 1 hour of completely uninterrupted, distraction-free work, I promise you, you're gonna make more progress inside of that 1 hour than you would if you spent the next 3 months scrolling social media, continuing to learn more information. Once you see this progress, you're gonna rinse and repeat. And when I say rinse, I want you to look at what you did in that hour. I want you to figure out how you can improve that and what you can do next time to continue making that hour better and better. Now, if you want this to be effective, you have to repeat over and over and over again. You cannot just do this once and hope that you're gonna have results. If you tried to grow a crop, you watered it one night, you let the sunlight hit it for a day, and you came back the next day and nothing happened, was it because you did something wrong, or was it because you didn't give it the time necessary for it to actually grow? And this is the exact same thing for you when it comes to building the life that you desire. Social media is this silent killer that steals our attention. But you have to have attention. Attention is gonna drive focus. Focus will enable discipline, and discipline is gonna lead to progress, which progress is what's gonna lead to the actual income. If you wanna change your life, you have to spend more time creating than you do consuming. If you're someone who knows where you wanna go in life, but you feel like you're getting pulled in 100 different directions, and you struggle to execute consistently, I want to help you. I left a short form down below where you can tell me a little bit more about where you're at and what you're working towards. From there, you and I can have a conversation about what we can potentially do to help you move closer to your goal. And if you found this video helpful, make sure you hit subscribe because I'm going to be making more videos about discipline, execution, and building a life that you're actually proud of. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.